The Unity 2022.2 tech stream just released, and there's some really exciting stuff in there. In this video, I want to cover some of the highlights from the release notes and show you some of the things that you've been missing out on. There's a lot of stuff in there for every kind of developer, from graphics to multiplayer and even some high-end performance stuff. And there are also a lot of editor improvements that'll help out everyone. But there's one special feature that I think is going to really excite everyone, and I'm going to hold that off until the end. So make sure that you stick around for that. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share the video. And if there's anything that I miss in this, or you have questions or thoughts about them, please drop a comment down below. I'm curious to see if there's anything in 2022.2 that I didn't call out or don't call out in this video that's super exciting. There's got to be something. There's a lot in here. Now, I think the biggest announcement of this release is that the entities package is now production ready. So you can bring in entities, use the burst compiler in the C# job system to really push the boundaries of what's possible with game development and do some amazing new things that nobody's done before. I know a few people working on ECS games, and they're really exciting. It's kind of crazy seeing what's possible. And now they've got the new packages for the physics system, graphics, and even networking, which is something that I want to talk about next. If you've been curious about building a multiplayer game with Unity, well then, now's kind of the perfect time, because Unity just released Netcode for Game Objects 1.1 along with this release, and it's a fully supported networking stack that's built first party by Unity. It's integrated into the engine really well, and it's extremely easy to use. But they've also got a lot of services that allow you to just set up and scale up your servers without having to go through a bunch of other third-party services. It's something that I've been waiting for a really long time, and I'm really excited to do a couple of videos about Unity's new networking system and the entire stack. If you're interested in that, by the way, drop a comment down below. I'm kind of curious to see how many people are really into multiplayer networking. For me, it's one of the most exciting things about game development, so I'm really excited that they've got this in here. They've got a matchmaking system set up, they've got that server hosting, and they've also, like I was mentioning at the beginning, got netcode for entities so that you can do this with the entity component system and then do some crazy high scale stuff. It's kind of got my mind wandering, thinking about all of the different possibilities using entities and multiplayer, but I'm gonna save that for another day. If you got some ideas for that, though, drop a comment too. Kind of curious to see what kind of crazy giant scale multiplayer games we might come up with. If you're not building multiplayer games, though, you might be more interested in some of the graphics work that's been done. There's a new shader graph full screen master node so that you can use shader graph to do post-processing effects in HDRP and URP. They've also added some really cool features to URP, like forward plus rendering that allows you to have an unlimited number of lights without losing performance, and LOD crossfade that makes it so that your LODs no longer pop in. Instead, they look nice and smooth without you having to do any additional work. There are also a couple great new HDRP features, like the new water system that allows you to create oceans and rivers and have them look nice and beautiful without having much artistic skill, well, at least without me having much artistic skill, along with a cloud system that allows you to do kind of the same with cloud layers and volumetric lighting there, and then an eye system that allows you to do some realistic looking eyes that, I don't know if they'll look more realistic than mine, but they actually look really cool. Now, if you're not artistic, but you like to make tools like I do, then pay attention to this part, because the UI toolkit is now just about at parity with the old UI system. So if you want to make editor tools, it's time to switch. There's a lot of new capability available with the UI toolkit, including things like tree views and data binding. So I recommend that you check this thing out, dive in, and see if you can make the switch to the new UI system. It's one of the few things that I've been making a big jump over to, that and the new input system. And while you're looking at it, make sure that you check out the Vector API too, because it's supposed to allow you to build your own UI elements, and I'm curious to see what type of UI elements come out of this, what things people build, and what's really useful. I've got a couple ideas, and this is another one of those. If you got an idea for something that would be a really cool element to go into the UI that should be built for it, then drop that down below too. And I want to get a discussion going about this new UI stuff and the best ways to use it. Now, as you'd come to expect with a Unity update, there are also a lot of platform updates, or new platforms supported, and improvements to the existing ones. There's the Android Fast Deploy to make getting APKs onto your phone or Android device quicker. DirectX 12 is the new default to support things like ray tracing and other advanced graphics features, and the new XR toolkit is out as well to handle things like XR interaction. So if you're doing VR or AR development, it's probably worth checking out. But then again, if you're doing any of those, you've probably been paying close attention and waiting for those updates. Now let's end with the things that will probably apply to the majority of you. There are a couple really big editor improvements for productivity that I think you want to know about. The first is relatively simple, but if you're using the terrain at all, there have been some big updates to the terrain system. It's now quite a bit more powerful than it used to be even just a year ago, and if you're used to looking at old videos of it, it's nothing like that anymore. And there are some new features to allow you to place things like brush and plants and trees in a much more intelligent way. They've also moved the AI navigation system into a separate package, so you can do really advanced navigation, not just the basic old stuff that used to be available. So if you want to have multiple navigation layers for different types of creatures, different types of rules for the navigation, and have just a more advanced system overall, make sure that you check out the new AI navigation system. It's what I recommend everybody switch to once you get beyond just the very basics, which is almost right away. They've also added support for splines with a new package and some updates to the 2D system like a light batch debugger and editor support for sprite atlas generation. But the one change in here that I think everybody is going to use, no matter what type of Unity developer you are, well, I guess everybody as long as you're a Unity developer, which if you are, hit that thumbs up button. That one change is the new prefab replacement option. So if you've ever put in a prefab somewhere, placed it all around and wanted to swap it out with something else, you've probably Googled and searched and tried to find a way to do it. Maybe you've even found the article with the code that I posted showing how to do it. But now it's supported and built right into the engine. This is great because it's something that happens all the time. It's something that I've never met a Unity developer that didn't need. So I'm glad to see that there, along with all of the other features. Now, if you had a favorite feature in this version of Unity, please let me know what it is. Drop a comment down below. I want to know what I've missed because I'm sure there's a ton of stuff. The release notes were huge. There's a lot of stuff going on. So let me know what it is and let everybody else know, and I'll make sure to maybe call it out if it's something really cool in a future video. All right, thanks again. Please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you in the next one.